Well, welcome to Chapel. We're continuing this series and being the salt of the earth. I want to extend a special welcome to those of you who are with us for the Educational Experience Day. Welcome to you. Glad you're here. Yeah, you can clap and welcome them. I hope it's a good day for you to get a feel for the campus and imagine yourself learning about education here. We're doing today, our topic is salt in the digital age. What does it mean to be salt in the earth in this age in which we live? And we have to begin by asking, well, what on earth is the digital age? But it's also the second week in Lent, isn't it, now? Just beginning here. We launched a week and a half ago, 10 days ago, with Ash Wednesday, a challenge to participate in a techno fast. That is to abstain from some kind of technology in order to make room in your life for God to do some work. For your attention to be set on other things that He might be prodding you towards. And we use this verse from Romans 12, don't be conformed to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And what do renewed minds look like in a digital age? You know, the digital age is all about reducing things to binary code, right? Taking reality and returning it and turning it into a series of zeros and ones that are almost endlessly plastic. They can be turned back into other things, an exact replication, or something much more creative and imaginative. They can be transported far away. They can be stored. One of the kind of holy grails of the digital age is to reproduce ourselves. But not just ourselves, a super version of ourselves, an immortal version of ourselves. Imagine downloading the content of your mind and putting it on a hard disk somewhere, and then being able to tap into it again long after your body is gone with some type of artificial body. There are folks, even nearby here in Boston, whole labs that are devoted to this vision. And there's something about that kind of rubs us a little wrong. But already we're moving that way, this promise of immortality. Omniscience, to know anything that's been known, and with it the power, omnipotence. Even already, those of you with smartphones have this sense of omnipresent, right? Omnipresence. Doesn't matter where you are, you can tap into the files that you created. But there's something in us that kind of rubs against that a little bit. We're not going to talk about that possibility, that vision. That's a full topic for another time. But instead, we want to talk about the much more mundane ways. How does the technical age, or digital age, affect us, our own minds today, in this space right now, in this morning? You know, Derek Webb, some of you might know, a Christian artist, he was thinking about this notion of zeros and ones, this pressure to become reduced to that which can be controlled and manipulated. And he sings this song. He says, he's talking about a concert experience. He says, this was real. Oh, this is what you've all come to see and to feel. But I'm starting to doubt my reality because it does not last long once the cash is gone. And eventually all of this must become zeros and ones, everything, everywhere, everyone, zeros and ones. It's an incredibly powerful tool that we have in the digital age. If you've seen a film lately, no doubt you've been convinced that you're seeing something really cool, which in itself is just computer-generated images, right? It's remarkably powerful and pretty darn cool. But it shapes us in some ways. About 130 years ago, Friedrich Nietzsche, a German philosopher, he had been extremely prolific, was having trouble writing. He said that as he looked at the blank page and picked up his pen, he would get migraines and become nauseous and vomit. And he thought his writing career had come to an end. But then along came a bit of technology that helped him through. And he purchased this state-of-the-art thing called the Malling-Hansen writing ball. It's a kind of typewriter. All those little knobs up top are keys with numbers and punctuation marks on them. You punch them. Now, how a blank sheet of paper would make him nauseous and this would not induce a migraine, I don't get. But it gave him a new writing career, and he started writing again. But his writing was a little different. And one of his close colleagues made this observation. He said, "Frederick, I'm so glad that you're producing again, but there's something different about what you're writing and the way it comes out? And Nietzsche replied, and he says, yes. Indeed, our writing equipment takes part in the forming of our thoughts. The technology we employ shapes and frames our thoughts, takes part in the forming of our thoughts. Think back to Romans 12. Don't be conformed to the patterns of this world, but be transformed how? By the renewing of our mind. For that reason, we have to be particularly mindful of what is shaping our thoughts. That's why we've invited folks to the Techno Challenge, to challenge themselves to abstain a little bit, get a little bit of distance so that they might make this observation that Nietzsche did 130 years ago. How is it that my technology is forming and shaping my thoughts? One of the students who's participated in that, Amelia Vierstra, has agreed to come and talk a little bit about what the past 10 days have been like for her. I'm going to ask Amelia to come and share her reflections right now.
Hi, guys. So about 2 weeks ago, I deactivated my Facebook account, and since then, I've been trying to be intentional about what websites I'm going on and how I'm generally spending my time. What I might say in my reflection might not resonate with all of you, but I'm just hoping that a few of you will be impacted by what I've learned. So, day 1 of the Techno Fast, I was shocked by how my brain seemed to be programmed to check my email and then my Facebook and then all these other websites and sources of technology that have been seeping into my time, into who I am, and ultimately into my identity as a person. But what shocked me even more than this programming was how difficult it was to tune out the noise and the distractions and to just be silent and still with myself and with God. In today's world, many of us find it almost impossible to be truly still when we're accustomed to hearing the noise all around us. During the Techno Fast, I found myself needing to transition from a life where people's opinions of me, my grades, my efforts, often mattered more to me than who God said I was in the silence. So, I agreed to just sit there with God, even though I wanted to do everything in my power to get away and to hide. But it's in this stillness that fear rose up in me, and I realized I didn't know how to be quiet before God. Mostly because I was always trying to be good enough for people or good enough for God, and filling my time and space with other things. I was angry and fearful because I was trying to earn something that couldn't be earned. I was striving to earn my identity. We live in a society where we're always working to do more and to be more. But in God's kingdom, we are already enough. It's toxic for people like me to walk around this campus ashamed or afraid of not being good enough or pretty enough or smart enough or have enough smartphones or whatever it is, but especially to be ashamed of not living God enough. It's in the quiet, silent place when everything in this world falls away that we see where we place our identity. And we have to come back to knowing that who God sees in us is already a success. The truth is that successful people in the kingdom of God don't have it all together. The truth is that every single one of us is broken, even if you're like me and you have all this noise and distractions and things to fill your time. When all the noise fades and we're completely still before God, this brokenness doesn't have to be a bad thing. Who God wants us to be is real and broken and fully dependent on Him. Today, in the digital age, silence can be really hard to deal with. But I wonder if it's because we don't fully know how much God loves us and how to rest in the quietness of our being. Do we understand that in the beginning of time, God made us because He wanted friends, and He didn't want to be alone either? Do we understand that He is never angry with us? That He doesn't like our sin, but He'll never be ashamed of us? That God will never love Jane Doe more than He loves you just because she reads her Bible? I think that one of God's favorite things is to take a hard heart and make it soft again. So if you're like me, it's okay to show Him your hard and your weak heart. He made us and He's jealous for us. We don't need to fear Him or to be bored by Him. He is the most loving and accepting friend in the entire world. He just wants to spend time with us no matter what condition we're in. So I learned a lot during my techno fast. I learned that we don't have to be afraid of the silence and just separating ourselves from all of this technology and the distractions around us on campus. But it's in the quiet and intimate place that we can find out who God is and who we are in Him. Thanks.
Thank you, Amelia. I really appreciate your reflections there. It's great. It's true, technology can get in the way of that quiet place of letting us know who we are, can rob us of things. About 2,400 years ago, Plato told a story in his dialogue Phaedrus, and Socrates is talking. He's talking about the value of written communication versus real dialogue, and he tells this little story about the gods Thamos and the other god, Thamos and Tiamat. Tiamat is a great inventor. He invents calculus and addition and geometry and astrology and also writing. And he brings all these new inventions to the god over all of Egypt. And he says, look, I want to show you what I've made. And so Thamuth says, well, let me take a look and I'll tell you what I think. I'll value them whether they're good or bad. And when it comes to language, written language, Themos says this is a great invention. It will make us wise and will improve our memories, right? To which Themos says this, no, what you have discovered is not an aid to memory, but it's a receipt for recollection. And you give your disciples not truth, but only the semblance of truth. They will be hearers of many things, and they will have learned nothing. Hearers of many things, but learning nothing. They will appear to be omniscient and will generally know nothing. They will be tiresome company, having the appearance of wisdom without the reality. 2,400 years ago, a warning raised about written language might do. I wonder, as you look around, are any of your friends tiresome company? I think I am sometimes, appearing to be wise, but really knowing nothing. Does our technology lend us to move down that path? Well, if it does, I think it does because the technological age is part of an ideology that says technology can solve all of our problems. It is the solution to everything we need. And it does so by placing right at the very heart of that ideology some idols, the idols of technological gadgets and tools. And you might be asking, well, Greg, what are the marks of an idol? And I'm glad you asked because the all-knowing PowerPoint has prepared an answer for us, right? Well, one thing that idols are, or one thing they do, a mark of them, is that they demand continual sacrifice. How many of you put out a lot of money to purchase a good computer before you started college? Yeah. How many of you wish you had a better computer now? Yeah. It's they keep putting out of money, right? If you take a little look at some of the things that have, the history of technology just over the past couple decades, it's kind of endless, the flow, it keeps moving. And it asks for each new model more money that we lay out. But now with kind of cloud computing, the notion is this, you don't have to pay big lumps of money. Instead, what you will do in the future is just make a subscription to a service so we have the latest thing. We don't have to buy new equipment or new software, but rather we pay a monthly fee, monthly little sacrifices. And technology will always demand that we continue to make those sacrifices. Another thing that idols do habitually is they make promises that they can't keep. Technology says, I will make your life easier. And it does for a little bit, but often not. When was the last time your hard drive crashed? When was the last time you couldn't get online? it becomes more complex. We can do much more in our workday, but we're expected now to do much more. There's no more leisure in our life now that we have powerful tools. In fact, it's just the opposite. You know, another lie is that you'll know more. I have to confess, I know fewer phone numbers in my mind than ever in my life. If I had to call my father right now and didn't have my phone with the speed dial on 5, I don't know how I'd get a hold of him. The same is true with my kids. I know my wife's number, but that's because it's one digit off of mine. That's the only way I know. I was with a student the other day. We were driving in the North Shore, headed down to Lynn. And I said, well, this is a little foggy. I haven't been here for a long time. And they said, well, I don't know this place at all. I said, what do you mean? You did an internship in Lynn. I mean, these are your grounds. You know this place. Oh, I just look at GPS. I don't know where I am. You know? We become reliant. It makes a promise it can't keep. Here's one of the most insidious promises that it makes, that it will solve all of our problems. I want you to watch this little video and keep your eyes open to see what you see.
Really?
It's time for a phone to save us from our phones. New Windows Phone, designed to get you in and out and back to life.
Here's what's the genius behind this thing is it says you've got a problem. You're distracted with your cell phone all the time. And we're going to solve that with a technological patch. We're going to get you a new little operating system on your phone, and that will save you from your phone. But don't you want to reach in there, like that last scene, the mom who's like looking at her phone, and there's that little toddler in the foreground. Don't you want to shake her and say, lady, wake up? You know, just if you can get some new software that will let you access Angry Birds and Facebook quicker, but that's not your problem. Your problem is you're not attentive to your little girl, and she's going to grow up so fast. Or the guy playing baseball. You go, hey, like, did you ever listen to Harry Chapin? You know, the Cats in the Cradle thing? Come on, let's play ball, Dad. You know, he's going to grow up. It'll be gone. And the guy in bed with his wife, she's ready to play. You want to say, he doesn't have a technological problem. His problem is not how fast his phone works. But it says that that's the lie that it wants to tell you. It's like a drug dealer. You think, oh, I see that you're kind of messed up on some drugs. I've got something that'll fix that for you. What a lie. And it's all over. Idols always promise what they cannot deliver. Where we place our attention is not a technological problem. It's an affair of our affections. Our attention always follows our affections. And no amount of technological computing power is going to help you direct your affections where they truly belong. Another mark of idols is that they become burdensome. How many, I've asked this before in this room, how many of you sleep with your phone? You have it right there, hands an arm's length away. Yeah. How many of you feel like you're naked if you don't have that phone in your pocket? Yeah. You got to have it. It's there. There's this dependence. It grants freedom, but only freedom when we're absolutely dependent upon it. It allows us to make maximum use of every little moment in our time. We can check email. I can check email right now. Look at I've got 30 seconds before I form my next thought. Maybe I'll see what's online. You know, games are designed to be played in tiny little bits to fill up every little spare moment of your attention. The average amount of time played on a handheld device is 2.2 minutes. And that's intentional. Tiny little bits of your life flooded with this thing that then becomes burdensome. But what it does is it drives out the moments of stillness, as Amelia was talking about, the moments of quiet, when we can know God, when we can see ourselves truly. Idols become burdensome, and they also start to shape us over in their own image. Let me show you a couple interesting things here. This is from Psalm 115, talking about idols that can't see. They have mouths that they can't speak, eyes that can't see, ears that can't hear, hands that can't feel anything. And those who make them will be like them, and so will those who trust in them. We become like the things we idolize. This is a picture of a guy named Dr. Siegel, Robert Siegel. He's a cosmetic surgeon down in Washington, D.C. He designed a thing called, for his wife, nonetheless, called the Facetime Facelift. Because as she talked with her friends on her phone using FaceTime, it made her look fat because the image, instead of holding like this and getting her eyes, it came here. And she said, I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way I look. So he designed a new technology to tuck up her chin it wouldn't even leave a scar, so it would look good on FaceTime. Idols make us over in their own image. Another guy named Nicholas Carr, in the book called The Shallow, says, actually, the way we engage the web shapes the neural patterns in our mind. It moves us away from deep thinking, sustained reflection. We ourselves get rebuilt to reflect the technology that we embrace. There's another group of scientists out of the University of Winnipeg who just in January at the annual conference of the Society for Psychology and Social Science, or Personality and Social Science, tested folks your age, 18 to 23 years old, and they found that those who text 100 times or more in a day are more absorbed with thoughts of wealth and appearance. They're less engaged in reflective thinking, and they're less likely to think that living a moral and principled life is important than those folks who text only 50 times a day or more. That's not a cause and effect relationship necessarily. It might just be that shallow people text more, Or it might be that texting makes you shallow. It might be that our technology turns us into Homer Simpson, like this. Can you see the little tiny brain? This made me laugh. I thought that was very funny. Well, the point is, living in the technological age, if we're not mindful, will shape us in ways we don't want to be shaped. It will sell us lies that will never come true. Is technology a bad thing? No way. I'm grateful for it every day. I put this thing together using technology. It's great. But if we don't take a little distance, make a little space, it will shape us into its image. Or, in the words of the Apostle Paul in Romans 12, we will become conformed to the patterns of this world rather than being transformed by the renewing of our mind. For those of you who are participating in the Techno Fast, I encourage you to keep trying it. For those of you who haven't yet, try something. Set yourself a week maybe. Maybe just from sun up to sundown, leave Facebook alone or don't answer your texts. Try something to make a little space and see what will happen as you invite God to transform your mind. Go in peace.